This is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with Keith Iser. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook live show. It is Friday. We got 7 games here on the DraftKings main slate, and it is a day of injuries here, Keith. I'm glad that you're here with me because I was almost having to do this show alone, and I don't think I would have been able to do it. I might have called out sick, truthfully, like the rest of the NBA today, and not have to deal with this and all the injuries, but at least I have you. Did the playbook today, broke it down, know exactly where to go with all the injuries. How are we doing, man, after, last night, the Utah Jazz went out there and everybody rocked it except for Filipowski. Kawhi Leonard did awesome things. Jaylen Brown looked great at times. I mean, good Thursday slate, roll into Friday here.
Yeah, we've got a wild one ahead of us. Last night was wild. I said on the show I can't see any way that Filipowski would fail and it not be just a miserable Jazz experience. But he did exactly that, and several other Jazzmen got there, including one Kyle Anderson, who turning back the clock on us a little bit. But
yeah, slow-mo did not slow-mo things, nearly doubled by halftime there. Derek White was another funny one. He basically did nothing for 3 quarters, and then by the time the game was over, he had like a pretty decent stat line. But we look at this slate. I really don't want to waste too much time because we have so much to get into. I won't even say all the names. We'll just talk about it as you go, but you can see me scrolling like sea of red here and like 6K and above. It's creating a ridiculous amount of value. Brooklyn, ton of value here today. New Orleans, ton of value here today that we're going to talk about. So we'll just jump into it. We do appreciate all of your support. You can hit that like, share, subscribe button. It's a free way to support the work we do here over at Fantasy Alarm. All right, point guard position. Denny's $9,600. Point guard only Denny is $9,600 here. They took away that small forward eligibility. You have Jamal Murray, Jalen Brunson with a questionable Karl Anthony Towns at $9,200. Trae Young ended up getting ruled out. We knew Giddey was ruled out already. So your top 3 guards right there, Keith.
Yeah, first of all, this slate is absolutely bonkers. We're going to talk about a ton of awesome plays, and there's going to be several plays that we don't even mention that are legitimately great plays. So you can go pretty much any direction that you want. Up at the top here, Denny has shown 70 fantasy point ceiling. New Orleans is shorthanded. He's live for a triple-double anytime he's on the floor. He's got the ball in his hands a ton without Jrue Holiday and now without Jeremy Grant. Like, there's just all kinds of good stuff here for Denny. Rough one last time against OKC. Had put up a couple of ceiling games right before that, though, so no issues going right back to Denny. Great spot with a shorthanded New Orleans team on the other side. Brunson in a great matchup. Didn't mean to skip Murray, but we'll talk about Brunson first. Great matchup against Atlanta. If Cat doesn't even play, like, we already have too much value. Like, that's going to be another situation that we need to throw into the mix. But Brunson on his own can go for 50 actual in any game, in any matchup. So now you give him a good matchup at home.
Cat's playing too. Now you have, if Brunson ends up not, if Cat ends up not playing, Brunson's got an even higher ceiling. So
yeah, and Josh Hart out, so he's getting more peripheral roles. Like, Brunson's a great play. Jamal Murray is without Nikola Jokic, so there's certainly room for him to find plenty of ceiling. He could go for 50 actual himself. Tough matchup against Cleveland, but fast-paced game environment. They play at one of the fastest paces in the NBA, so good spot here for Murray as well.
Agreed, 100% with you. If Towns gets ruled out, would you rather play Brunson or Murray?
I think I'd go Brunson in that spot. Murray, as good as he is, doesn't get a massive bump without Jokic, which is kind of weird, and maybe not something that'll be sticky now that he's out for a couple of weeks. Murray might just show up with a 35% usage rate, but up until this point in the season, he has not done that when Jokic has been off the floor.
Yeah. Again, it's kind of weird to just kind of like jump through some of this, but if you just look at ownership, because there's so much value, a lot of this mid-tier isn't really getting love. De'Aaron Fox would be the one guy that stands out at $7,000. That's getting some ownership in this mid-range, but it's him. And then it goes down to like Jordan Poole, guys under $5,000 here today. What are your thoughts on Fox in this Pacers matchup?
Yeah, I mean, Fox looks great without Wembanyama, almost a 30% usage rate on the season. Elite matchup against Indiana, who's bottom 10 in defense, play at a above average pace as well. Fox is just too cheap for the role that he has without Wemby. If you go anywhere else in this range, you are so far off the board. Like, it is absolutely insane because everybody is just there. It's a stars and scrub day for sure. Like, there's so many plays under 5K, even under 4K, that are legitimately great that a guy like Anthony Black is not going to get any ownership whatsoever. Suggs is back, so that does hurt him a little bit, but it's still a great matchup against Chicago. Darius Garland can find a ceiling spot in any matchup. Like, you're going way off the board if you're playing these guys, but I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it.
No, I agree. I agree with you 100%. Like I said, with everybody out for New Orleans, Murphy's out, Bay's out, Jordan Poole is actually currently the highest rostered point guard on the slate. 26 minutes last two games, 26 actual in those two games. You got to assume there's more minutes and maybe more shots available to him tonight.
We did the preview show last night, and we talked about loving Jordan Poole, even if Sadiq Bey and Derek Queen were in. Well, both of those guys are out, and Trey Murphy is out.
Yeah.
So I almost dislike this situation for Poole. I liked Poole as a low-owned tournament play yesterday.
You don't like him as the highest roster player?
As the highest roster player on the slate and a guy that can be extremely volatile with his shots, that's a little bit concerning. He's probably going to take 20 shots in this spot at least. I'm not saying don't play him. It's just I don't love Jordan Poole as chalk, but he is in an undeniably fantastic spot.
Yeah, we talked Chicago guards last night. We were like, oh, we're just going to go back and play the Chicago value. I mean, there's so much other value that Chicago's kind of getting overlooked now. So Trey Jones still exists. He gets Orlando at $5,100. There's Caleb Love, $4,600, a guy that you had liked with Grant out of the lineup. Jaegor's back, $4,600 for him. Johnson against Brooklyn at $44. Bruce Brown's $4,300. Like, there's so much value here.
You named like 6 just amazing tournament plays right there. Trey Jones' ownership is going to be, I cannot wait to see what the number turns over at. He should be one of the highest roster players on the slate, and I think he's going to get lost in the shuffle because Jordan Poole is going to catch so much ownership. Even Jeremiah Fears now has to play significant minutes, even with Alvarado back. Like, he's going to get some ownership. Like, Trey Jones is live for 40 DraftKings points. Like, he's like, I'm not even saying that's like a 5% ceiling, like 5% outcome. Like, he legitimately could just do that.
Just did it.
He just did it. Exactly. Now, he did shoot out of his mind in that game and had double-digit assists, but he can absolutely do that again. Caleb Love, nobody's playing this guy because there's so much other value. His role has been so amazing lately. We're playing so many Pelicans that just running back some Caleb Love on the other side, I think even if this game gets out of hand, Love would still play close to 30 minutes. So Love is a low rostered value option when everybody else is flocking somewhere else, is one of my favorite plays on the entire slate.
Yeah, I'm with you. And again, like I said, Love right now, it's 13%, Trey Jones, 12%. That's what we just posted an update over at Fantasy Alarm right now. So, basically 10% tournament darts at 7-game slate. I know you love playing those 20 maxes, those multi-entries. Like, that's how you go ahead, and that's how you find your way to one of those lineups being the one that go take down a tournament. So I'm with you there. What are your thoughts on Agor?
I mean, he's got to play 30 minutes, I think, and he's a capable guy. It's not a comfortable value situation. What's the ownership number that you're seeing on him?
21.
I mean, like, give me Caleb Love over Agor at lower ownership. Like, I think those are the kind of pivots that you can look at today and get well ahead of the field. I'm not saying he's a bad play. I just think that at that ownership, there are plenty of pivots in this range.
I agree 100%. Anything else here? I mean, again, we've talked a bunch of players. Is there one more down here that maybe sticks out to the rest of you?
Right below him, Trey Johnson and Bruce Brown, I think, are absolutely phenomenal plays that we would love to play on any other slate, but they're going to be like completely forgotten about on this slate.
Yeah. All right, let's go on over to shooting guard then. Donovan Mitchell is your top priced player over there. From an ownership perspective, he is actually getting a little bit of love. Jordan Poole has a dual positional eligibility, so he kind of like carries the weight there. But Mitchell and Sharp are two spots that people are spending up on because there's so much value at point guard. you got to put your money somewhere tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Mitchell is always live for a ceiling performance. I wouldn't say that he's my favorite spend up. We're going to talk about a lot of power forwards that I would
I
much prefer to spend on. I think the point guard position is good to spend up on and then find any number of value options at other positions. So Mitchell is not my favorite spend up, especially since he's getting ownership. If he was like 5% owned, I would have a different opinion on that. But because the field is getting there because of the positional stuff, I'm not that into it.
Agreed. Again, it's there's other spots I think you can go. A lot of guys with dual positional eligibility. The rest of like ownership wise is everybody we've kind of talked about. You get Stefan Castles around 10%. But it's all value that we've kind of hit on. Is there anybody else, I guess, in the mid range that you're looking to maybe plug today, or how are you approaching this?
Talk about elite tournament plays. Stefan Castle without Victor Wembanyama in an awesome matchup against Indiana is 10% owned. Are you like this? This is insane. This is a fantastic tournament slate. Like, I don't know how you would possibly make one lineup on this slate. I know you're a single entry guy, and that's generally your play. How do you decide with all the amazing plays that we have today?
Honestly, it's gonna be a difficult day. I've occasionally ventured into the mini max, and I'll just do the 150 on the mini max tournament. This could be a perfect mini max day, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Go spend $75 in the mini max and get all the exposure that you need to all of these different scenarios and combinations, because there is one of these or two of these guys will pop for like 8x tonight.
I mean, just as an example, De'Aaron Fox has shown above 30% ownership.
Yeah.
Stefan Castle is the exact same play at a third of the ownership.
Yep.
They are literally the same play. It would not surprise anyone if one of those guys went for 30 points tonight. Castle's usage rate with Wemby off the floor is over 32%. That's like a 9K player type of usage. And he's 7,400, 10% owned.
No, he's an incredible play. Is there anybody else in the value that you're looking at? Again, a lot of these guys with dual positional eligibility that we've hit on already are standing out. Is there something else that pops you? I mean, there's like some Brooklyn value that's here. A lot of the guys we kind of hit on. Julian Champagny, is he going to knock down 11 threes again? Anything for you for value range? I mean,
all of those guys are in play. You can throw Terrence Mann out there. You can throw Tyrese Martin out there. Bryce McGowan's, I think, should start for New Orleans today and has potential to play 30 minutes at minimum price. Like, there's just so much to like. I don't have a problem with any of those. Even a guy like Drake Powell could find his way into 25 minutes. Kevin Huerter
we don't intentionally be like broad with it, but there's so many plays today that just like stand out.
Yep.
I do like the Hoarder shout at 49. Again, you play Jones there. Poole can be played here. Io's 55, probably getting overlooked just because he's more expensive than the rest of the value here. Johnson can be played. Brown can be played. That's probably it outside of the Brooklyn guys. Let's see here. I don't really see much else. Powell's 32, as you mentioned. So like he's someone that's getting like 20-ish%. So we'll see if that kind of holds or not as we get closer to
I think ownership is so volatile. Like, it's impossible to project ownership on this slate. And if you get the guy that shows up under 10% when he's projected to be like 20%, so Drake Powell at 20%, I have no interest in whatsoever. Let's just put that out there.
Sure.
But if that causes Kevin Huerter to fall under 10%, like I'm so
I see Huerter at 3. So
like
that's your
this
pivot,
is a guy
right?
that's put up 30 DraftKings points in this situation many times.
Yeah.
With Giddey and White off the floor. He has a usage rate above 20% without those guys. He should play 30 minutes tonight.
I agree. If you go to small forward, Zaire Williams is currently the highest rostered from what we have over at Fantasy Alarm at min price $3,000. So just kind of keep that into perspective. Tamani Kamara is getting some ownership love again at small forward. The big guys are out. You have Bane at 73. We talked Brendan Miller in tournaments. It's still a really great spot for Charlotte. Do we know if Diabate's status is yet? Has he been ruled in
questionable, I believe.
Okay. I mean, because that will change, maybe the way that whole lineup looks, but we like Charlotte versus Milwaukee. is there something that sticks out to you? Do you like the Kamara play, or where else would you look to go?
I do not like the Kamara play. He's fine. I don't know what the ceiling is there. Give me Love way over him if I'm looking for Portland exposure
Yeah.
or just spending up to Denny. I like the Brandon Miller shout a ton because he has a massive ceiling. Even with Bridges and LaMelo in there, he can still be the usage leader on this team. So I think he can find his way to 50 DraftKings points in this spot at low ownership. I like that quite a bit. Peyton Watson is the guy I would pivot to off of Kamara. A little bit more expensive, only 300 more, but
Yeah.
like he's going to play 35 plus minutes, you'd think, today. Denver's just dealing with so many injuries. We saw him pop off for over 30 points, over 30 fantasy points last game.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me to see again. Like I said, Jamal Murray just hasn't been a 30+% usage guy without Jokic. So there's going to be plenty still for guys like Peyton Watson.
People need to score, and I mean, when have you ever seen Peyton Watson take 19 shot attempts before?
Exactly.
So if that's going to be what he's now just asked to do, yeah, the value is certainly going to be there. And then again, it kind of jumps into the value range. Zaire Williams, I mentioned, min price, Julian Champagny we talked about. I'd rather play Keldon Johnson over Julian Champagny. I don't believe Champagny's going to knock down 11 threes again, so give me Keldon instead, and as a more consistent player in their role at similar price points if I had to pick one. What are your thoughts as we get below 5K here?
Yeah, the Zaire chalk is not comfortable. He's not a big fantasy per minute producer, so he needs 30+ minutes really to even pay off minimum price. A guy like Keldon could play 23 minutes and score 30 DraftKings points. So love that type of pivot in tournaments. The Champagny stuff is just wild. Like, he's not taking 17 threes again, first of all, let alone making 11.
So never mind making 11 of them, exactly, right?
Yeah,
so.
Like just an absurd outlier performance. I would not chase that. It is a good spot. He's going to start and play a ton of minutes. But I would rather take shots on McGowan's or Keldon for sure.
Sure. See if anything else kind of sticks out here. You can play Powell. Bryce McGowan's probably a spot where he finally is activated after being inactive the last couple of games.
Yeah, I think he starts.
Yeah, right. Again, he's been inactive for a little bit, but 3K min price probably goes back into that starting lineup.
Spencer Jones should play a ton of minutes, has been really low fantasy point per minute guy, but we just talked about this Denver situation. Things could change for sure. Another guy that's off the board who's typically really low usage and could pop again, Isaac Okoro, just did it in the last game for the Bulls. So, like, I know he's not a guy that we typically think of having a ceiling, but when you're taking 30% usage guys off the floor in Giddey and White, like, somebody's got to shoot.
Did you take a look at Vic Krejci at all without Trey tonight?
Yeah, that's interesting. I prefer Okoro, who's basically at no ownership.
Sure.
So I don't think we need to go there. But yeah, I mean, it's totally fine.
All right, going on over to power forward, a fun position to talk about because there's a lot here. Giannis is 10-9, was downgraded to probable today for injury management. So I guess we have to watch that. That game is 8 o'clock start time, so an hour after roster lock. It'd be pretty unfortunate if Giannis was like a late scratch on this slate. But the way this slate is going, might end up being. So watch the Giannis news, because obviously that would jump like Bobby Portis right back into our hearts and minds here in this matchup against Charlotte. But you have him, you got Jalen Johnson at 99, Banchero at 86, Siakam and Zion Williamson, $7,500. Zion was one of our favorite players last night anyways. I think when we built our preview lineup, he was like the first or second plug. Too cheap. Everybody's out now. I guess the lone worry would just be like competitiveness, I guess, in this game. But, hard to ignore what Zion's doing in the minutes right now.
Yeah, I mean, let's just jump to Zion first, because I think that like you said, he was mispriced before Sadiq Bey, Derek Queen, and Trey Murphy got ruled out. He is at least $2,000 too cheap. I think he was $1,000 too cheap before the injury news. And now they're without 3 of their starters. I don't know that I've ever played the amount of a $7,500 player that I'm going to play of Zion today. It's not like like you mentioned the blowout stuff. Like Portland, they're not really a team that is capable of running someone off the floor.
Yeah.
Like I think New Orleans can still be competitive here. Poole can score some points. Zion should be very effective against a bad Portland defense that also plays very fast. So, like, I have nothing bad to say about Zion. I don't care what the ownership number is. I'm going to be over it.
I mean, right now it's at 30%. So,
So,
kind of
like,
helping.
I'm talking like doubling that. I'm
60%
considering
Zion
going like
tonight?
60% Zion.
I honestly don't have a huge problem with that. Just kind of given how good he has been and what we know his ceiling can be. And if there's even if they decide to get him over the 29-minute bridge, if he comes out and plays 35 tonight because they just have nobody else, I mean, you could be looking at 60 fantasy points there. Banchero was another one that you and I liked last night. He's kind of turning it back on. He's been so inconsistent, but now back-to-back games of 63 and 54 fantasy points, his price drops $100 and he has one of the best matchups on the board. The Chicago Bulls are allowing their opponents to score over 122 points per game this year.
Oh, man. The only reason I'm not lock buttoning Zion is because there are some other just amazingly elite power forward plays.
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson, we're going to talk about next. Paolo Banchero is right there in that bucket. Really struggled for a little bit, but there's no Franz Wagner here, and he's absolutely smashed his last 2 times out. You just talked about the matchup. It is an elite spot against an extremely fast-paced team. Like 60 fantasy points would surprise no one in this spot for Paolo.
No, not at all. So I really like Paolo. I took his over PRA today. It was like 35.5. So fingers crossed there. And then, Triple J. I mean, no Trae Young. It didn't really even matter if Trae Young was playing or not. He was just the best player on that team. Double, 34, 10, and 6 last time out. We've seen him triple-double. Without Trae, the assist numbers are very much back in play. I mean, they were there with Trae at double-doubles with Trae Young active. Tough matchup against New York, but he still went 29 and 12 against them last time they played. Why is this guy under $10,000? Why is he 10% great?
It's a guy that we've seen go for 90 DraftKings points before. He's gone for 70 on multiple occasions.
I was gonna say he had a stretch here of like 7 games where he went for 70 in 5 of them. So I don't know.
And no Trae Young tonight.
Yeah.
With just, I mean, it's too cheap of a price. He's my favorite play over 9K on the entire slate. I know the point guards are great as well. Give me all the Jalen Johnson I can fit in.
No, I agree with you. So those are really your spend ups. Evan Mobley's getting a little bit of ownership love, around 20%. Paolo's only 13%. Giannis is 14%. Because of all the value that's on the slate. So like Jalen Smith is over 20%. Noah Clowney is actually, at least for now, the highest rostered power forward, over 30%. Danny Wolf is 24%. So, if Giannis was to be ruled out, Bobby Portis would definitely jump into like probably the 20% ownership range. So where are you looking in the mid-tier in value? How much of do you trust Noah Clowney tonight at $5,000?
I think one of the most interesting things on the entire slate is the ownership number of Noah Clowney versus Jalen Smith. Because if Jalen Smith is going to be half as popular as Noah Clowney, I'm going to flip their ownerships. I'm going to go double the field on Jalen Smith and half the field on Noah Clowney. I'm not saying that Noah Clowney is a bad play. I think he's a fantastic play. But in this game that we play, we're doing more than just picking basketball players, right? We're playing a game within the game. And the ownership number on Jalen Smith is, I talked about it with Trey Jones. Like these Bulls, someone on the Bulls is absolutely smashing today. And they're all going to be way too low owned. The Bulls are probably going to be my biggest overweight stance. Jalen Smith is chief among those.
Yeah, I agree. We talk a lot about the tournament upside that he brings when he was, playing 18 minutes, and then they've started to increase the minutes, and we know what the ceiling can be. So yeah, a nice little pivot there.
He could also come out and pick up 3 fouls in 2 minutes, and
absolutely.
There's certainly risk here. So Clowney is probably safer. He's going to play 35 minutes in this spot. But Jalen Smith is one of the best fantasy point per minute guys in the entire league. All he needs is the minutes, and he's been getting them recently.
Yeah, this is basically, are you playing the player or the matchup, right? Because Clowney obviously draws the better matchup versus Washington, and Smith, we've just seen have the higher ceiling of the group. So I'm with you there. You're getting it about half the, 10, 12% less on Jalen Smith than Noah Clowney. And if you're building multiple lineups, there's a bit of your leverage there. Again, Keldon's at $4,700. Danny Wolf last night almost killed Kevin Durant. He's 23% off. You saw his brick three there that banked Durant off the face. So they got that going on. So we got a super chat here from Anthony. Sorry, Anthony, I missed that like a couple minutes ago. We were on power forward now, so better spend up Jalen Johnson or Giannis, assuming Giannis plays here tonight.
I don't think this is even close. Like, I'm not even considering a massive, like, Giannis is still limited and even if he's not limited, he's looking at like 31, 32 minutes.
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson is going to play 36, 38. And he has been just as good as Giannis per minute.
Right.
He's $1,000 cheaper.
Giannis's price. I don't know why he's not. So
right. So give me the guy that's too cheap over the guy who's got a weird injury tag and is potentially still limited.
Yeah, I almost felt like some people might be getting to Giannis because they finished their build. They're like, oh shit, I got $3,500 left. What do I do? And they're like, I'll just play Giannis, to spend the money, and like that's what happens here. So do I have Justin greater than Julian take though? Would you rather which Champagne would you play?
Oh man, that is an interesting one. I think they're both playable. As far as which I prefer,
Justin has been, I feel like, more consistently productive in the starting lineup. Julian just hit 11 threes, so that's going to stand out.
Yeah, if that's going to cause his ownership to spike, like give me Justin. Washington one for sure. Like if the ownership is a thing for Julian, give me Justin.
Our guy Warren with his hear me out player of the day being LaMelo. Again, nobody's playing an $8,000 LaMelo ball. That guy can go for 60. We've seen it. Certainly within the range of outcomes for tournaments here today. If you want to play an $8,100 LaMelo ball,
I would prefer it if Con Knipple or Brandon Miller were out because I think the usage is going to go in that direction before it goes to LaMelo. At least compared to like LaMelo of past years.
He's shooting threes better than he's ever shot, it feels like. At least right now he's on a bit of a heater. So, that definitely helps the upside. If he can stay out of foul trouble, limit the turnovers. I want to get him over the 30 minutes. We haven't seen that in a little bit. If he played 35, I'd have some interest. Yep. Again, he is a guy that fills the stat sheet. We didn't talk about Bridges here. If Diabate ends up getting ruled out, we saw them play the small ball 5 with Bridges a lot last season, and he was putting up some pretty diesel numbers because of the rebounding. He had 11 rebounds just a game ago. Does the lineup for the Hornets affect your opinion of Miles Bridges at all today?
Yeah, I am not getting there if Diabate is in, but I think that's an awesome sneaky little call out there. If Diabate gets ruled out, give me some Miles Bridges for sure.
Yeah, I took the over 6.5 rebounds, which was plus money on him this morning, just in case Diabate was getting ruled out. But even then, he's kind of gone over that anyway. So I didn't fully understand the line. So we wrote that one up. You can find that over at Fantasy Alarm. It's in the expert picks tracker as well for you guys. All right, what else are we looking at for the mid-range? We talked Smith and Clowney. Anything else for you stand out value-wise or other?
Yeah, we need to give Danny Wolf some time because he has the highest usage rate on the Nets without Michael Porter Jr., Cam Thomas, and Nicholas Claxton. I don't know if he's going to start. Even if he doesn't start, I think he has a chance to play upper 20s minutes. We just saw it last night. The matchup is as good as it gets against Washington. I'm very interested in Danny Wolf. Again, another guy that I would go overweight on compared to that Clowney ownership. So keep an eye on the ownership as it updates towards lock. Like if Danny Wolf is lower than Noah Clowney, that's a position I'm going to take is well overweight. I think the Bulls guys that we've talked about, Buzelis has a massive usage rate, upper 20s with White and Giddey off the floor. I know the minutes have been inconsistent here, but if this guy comes out shooting hot, there's nothing that says he can't play 32 minutes.
Right.
Like,
they just don't take him off.
Talk about an elite tournament play that nobody's playing because there's value everywhere. Buzelis could legitimately go for 50 fantasy points if he sees the floor enough.
No, I agree with you. And nobody's in on him. He's under 10%. As it stands right now.
And that's not changing. Like there's just too much other value.
Yep, agreed. Going up on over to the center position here. 50% of the field is playing Daron Sharp at $3,700. I don't really disagree with that. Given the matchup, we've talked a lot. Where is he? 37. We've talked a lot about the matchups going up against Brooklyn all season long, are going up against Washington all season long. They're just horrific defensively, especially against opposing bigs. Sharp has been a huge fan. I mean, just look at some of these numbers, fantasy points per minute wise. 21 minutes, 34 fantasy points, 17 minutes, 26 fantasy points, 19 minutes, 32 fantasy points. He doesn't need to play more than he's playing in this matchup to do damage. And the expectation is he might play 25 minutes tonight just because they have nobody else at center to play. So, without Claxton starting and whatnot. So, everyone's chugging Daron Sharp in. You could double center tonight and plug him in at like a util if you wanted to. But I think he's just got to be one of your first plugs today.
Absolutely. He's the top play on the slate. I've talked all show long about how you might want to fade some spots. I think this is a spot that you absolutely cannot fade. He is just, like you said, he's getting there in 17, 18 minutes. And he legitimately could play, if he played 29 minutes tonight, it would not surprise me.
I don't disagree.
He's very foul prone, so there's risk here. But if he plays 20 minutes, he's probably beating his price tag.
Agreed. Because again, he's been doing it anyways. He's what Jalen Smith was when he was priced at that for 4K for us as well. We're like, the guy's playing 19 minutes. He's getting you double doubles. Like, why wouldn't you play him? Now that he's playing more minutes. So you have him. With Towns being potentially out tonight, there really isn't a ton of like spend up spots that we would, I guess, go to. Sarr did get a minor minutes bump last time out. I am a big Alexander Sarr fan. 28 minutes, doubled, 45 fantasy points. Now he's down to $6,800. Not having to deal with Claxton. You mentioned Sharp being a bit foul trouble.
What if Sharp picks up 3 first half fouls and they sit him? Like, who's going to stop Alexander Sarr? That's an awesome shout out.
Yeah, so I really like Sarr in tournaments most nights here. And if the minutes are just going to kind of keep rising, now they've given the information out early whether or not he's going to continue to be on a limit. Last time they increased it. So even if we just bank 28 minutes tonight, like he just went for 45 and 28 minutes. So I definitely don't mind the spot for him. Klingon now obviously becomes a little bit more interesting because the Pelicans have nobody. They're going to have to play Umisi, I guess. So if you put a real big on the floor, Klingon may have to stay out there after playing limited minutes the other night. Is there Mitch Robb if there's no Towns at 48? I mean,
I think Vooch is interesting.
Okay, you like Vooch?
It's not a great matchup. I don't love the price, and there's plenty of other value that we still need to talk about too.
Sure.
But like no Giddey and no White, why can't Vooch go for 50 tonight? I think he absolutely can. 50 fantasy points.
Do you buy the Wendell Carter revenge game? Do you remember he kind of came out and has said how much he basically circles the calendar when he plays the Bulls because he's upset that they traded him?
He's had some awesome games against them too. And so this is not like the first time that he's played them. Is the only thing. This is the 10th matchup.
Yeah. No, he's made a point. He's like, whenever I see Chicago, I remind them they shouldn't have traded me. And again, this is a low usage player generally. The numbers have been okay. I wish he was lower 5Ks than upper 5Ks here, but in tournaments, maybe the revenge narrative continues to kind of show out a little bit. Let's see. Again, the Mitchell one does stand out because he got the minutes. Like he got up 26 minutes twice during that stretch. So if Towns is a rule be ruled out and Mitchell Robinson's going to see 26 minutes tonight, I would have some interest there.
Yeah, I would as well. I think Misi and Cornette are definitely going to get some ownership. So Mitch Rob is a pivot from that.
Yeah, Misi right now is 14. Cornette's 11. No one's obviously playing Mitch Rob now because Towns is considered in, but once that changes, maybe that flips a little bit.
Those two guys at those ownership, these are guys that would be if they were the only option on the slate, they would be 40% owned. They'd be the top value on the slate. But because Sharp is here and as shorthanded as everyone is tonight, Cornette could absolutely just demolish this price tag. Flirt with 10x at what did you just say his ownership was 14%?
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
I agree with you. We got some questions, comments in the chat that kind of spilling in here. We'll get to our lineup build here in a minute. Would you guys play Brunson or Banchero straight up last man in?
If Towns is out, that changes things, obviously. But if Towns is in, it's Banchero for me.
He says he's worried Suggs will take away some of the Banchero usage. I mean, I don't know. Suggs has obviously been a really good player, but they're down other pieces, and Banchero should be their main guy on that team. So I'm a little less concerned. Torrance saying Orlando has problem with athletic small forwards. So yeah, maybe Chicago on the other side for Buzelis is what the shout out he was given there. Messi, Sharp, or Cornette was Nate's question. Yeah, pick one. We're going Dayron, obviously. I mean, he's 50% though, so it all depends. If you want to fade the chalk, you play Messi or Cornette, or play them one or play two of the three.
Play two of them, I think, is the answer there. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed with you. Dayron's projected for 36 fantasy points. Yeah, he's projected for 10x, man. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, like his median projection is 10x. Come on.
Yeah, it's pretty wild there. Warren says Angel Reese is going to steal the spotlight from Wendell Carter. Possible. Is Angel going to be there tonight in Chicago? She might be.
I would imagine.
Probably. All righty. So Sharp in Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we just click value here, I guess. So let's scroll down to 4K. Where do we go to lead the way here, Keith? What value plays are we playing today?
You can go in so many different directions. I think Zion Williamson is like a must-have for me.
Okay. I'm good there too. So get Zion.
I like him more than Poole. I think one of them is just going to take 25 shots tonight. Like, I don't mind Poole if we don't have the money for Zion or something, and we need.
No, we do. I mean, well, that's the thing. We do. We can play like Love or Trey Jones with Poole.
Yeah, like how chalky do you want to go here? Because if we start plugging in like Noah Clowney and Zaire Williams, like we're going to end up pretty.
I don't want to get too much Brooklyn. Yeah. I feel like Sharp is safe.
Is enough. Yeah, I'm with you. Danny Wolf would actually be my next favorite Brooklyn guy if we were looking.
And I'd be cool with that. But if we did like Poole and Love, that's $6,400. If you plugged in Wolf, I guess it'd have to be a util play. That's $7,500 basically for a small forward and a guard. So
you just have an absurd amount of money on this slate.
Infinite amount of money depending on how you wanted to play it. Small forward is kind of a bad position though, so I guess you'd almost take like a value small forward and just spend up for like Brunson or something like that.
Here. Yeah, yep, that's a good point. We talked about Zaire, minimum price, probably going to start. Keldon is one of our favorite value plays at small forward. You have both Champagnes. Bryce McGowan's if he starts.
McGowan's at 3K. I mean,
you're going to have 2-3K starters potentially at the small forward position.
Keldon at 47 gives you $10,000. So
too much.
there's so many different ways to build here, guys. We'll leave it here for a bit of a core build, but get in the Discord and pay attention to the lineup news as it comes close to 7:00. We'll get some more updates for ownership. Today is absolutely a multi-lineup day. If you can swing it, obviously, stay within your bankrolls. Don't play with outside your means. But if you try to throw a dart at this slate tonight, you're gonna need to really be on point, I think. So, do we like Demon? Yeah, we didn't mind Demon there. We were cool with
the ownership is the only thing that we're not into. We love the role. He should play a ton of minutes tonight, but the ownership with so many other great plays on the slate is the thing.
So Vuk did play for the Magic. That was the trade. But Wendell Carter, if you can Google it, he specifically gave an interview saying he circles this matchup because he wants Chicago to regret trading him. So, take that for what it is.
And I'm pretty sure Vooch has been historically pretty bad in the matchup.
All right, guys. So again, this is just one of 1,000 different combinations of core plays that can be built tonight. We appreciate all of your support each and every day. Grandi and I will be back Sunday night for the Monday preview show. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Have a great weekend.